People right now, they're just not able to pay their bills, man. They're not. You're seeing more and more young people who are living at home with their parents until they're old people. They can't afford to move out.
Yeah, the cost
And
of
if they
homes.
do move out, they got 3, 4, 5 roommates.
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's wild when you think about it, though. Like, the average young generation right now, the younger generation, like, for the most part, you won't be able to afford a home. You won't be. You ain't get $1 million saved up. Something, nah. That 10%, 20% down payment, you ain't moving like that. Not on $7.25, $8, $9 an hour. You're not. No, you have no choice but to stay at home with mom. But I don't think you can't vote your way out of shit like that. I don't care who's in office.
I respectfully disagree with what the gentlemen were speaking about. And on this video, we're going to get into the why I disagree. But more importantly, we're going to give you some solutions. Those of you that are in the not right now group cohort, I'm not talking about those of you that will never. We know that you guys have strong opinions. Matter of fact, you guys seem to be on YouTube all day, every day. And I'm not talking about those of you that are in the right now bucket. If you happen to watch this video and you're in the right now bucket, if we could help, reach out. We'd love to. But this one is really tailor-made to those that are on the fence, because you hear information like you just heard and you get discouraged. Well, stick around to the end. I'm going to give you a real world case scenario of how you can get into a home affordably if that's what you want to do. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Robert, and on this channel, we simplify the home loan process. Leg up. We gotta give context to the rest of the video by identifying the reasons that were given that people will not be able to buy homes. The first reason that I heard was people are not able to pay their bills. And the first thing that comes to my mind is why? Shout out to my son. He was always the why dude because he didn't want to do a lot of things. Why are you not able to pay your bills? And just from a 10,000 foot view, and not to be insensitive, it's because you don't have enough money to be able to pay your bills. And so to solve that problem, one or two things. You have to become more productive in the marketplace to draw that type of salary. You may have to change positions. You have to know and understand to increase your money. You have to be accustomed to is moving. You got to move around. Feel free to get into this conversation. Let me know down in the comment section if you agree or disagree. We just ask that you do so respectfully, or no one will ever see your comment. But if you want to work in corporate America where you have to move around because your next raise is going to come from a position change, and unfortunately, a lot of times it's going to come from a new employer. And so that's just facts of the matter. Are you someone that has been an incumbent, someone that has been there for 5, 10 years? Well, you got to ask yourself this question. Why would someone pay you more when they're getting all they could get out of you for the last 5 or 10 years? And that's with the assumption that you're truly adding value. And we're going to get into the real estate part of this video, but you guys stay with us because this is where the problem lies. You got to get out of a TikTok short story, 30-second algorithm to really be a successful homeowner. Facts. So y'all stay with me. But how long have you been in a place expecting more money where they already got you? Okay, you're an incumbent. You got to be able to move around. But more importantly, you got to make sure that you're constantly adding value or adding to your skills so that you can pay your bills. All right. That's a you problem. That's a me problem. Let's move forward. I already lost half the room, but I love y'all. I really do. Number 2, living at home with parents, the way it was stated to me sounds like that is a sentence. I had a comment. Maybe we could get the editor to put it up. One of the polls I was asking about living at home, and the gentleman said, yeah, you only want to live at home if you want to be disrespected. There is a negative connotation to living at home. I want to challenge those of you that are staying at home not to look at it as a scarlet letter or an albatross, but if you change your mindset, look at it as an opportunity for you to save a lot of money. If you have the blessing to be able to live at home in a respectful environment, meaning you're keeping the fifth commandment. I speak about the Bible here. If that offends you, you might want to move around. But are you honoring your mother and your father, or your father and your mother in its proper context? Because when you do that and you act like an adult, then you get adult acting type behaviors. But everybody's situation is different. I'm speaking from mine. I'm biased. So I know how we get down, but I know they got some toxic situations. But I want to challenge those of you that have the opportunity to live at home, stack them ends. Don't be out stimulating the economy, feeling like you balling. You're not balling. Someone is subsidizing your opportunity. Take advantage of it. Let's move forward. Roommates. Last I checked, how many of you guys out there went to college, had a roommate? How many of you guys out there got your first job and you may have been in a higher cost area and you had roommates? When did roommates become a negative thing? As you can see, I'm hearing the list differently because I want to encourage the 6 out of 10 of you that are in the not right now bucket. If you're in the right now bucket and you happen to find this video, get down in the comment section, schedule a consultation. We'd love to help you buy a home where you can have peace in it. Let me say it that way. Okay. And then the not never, we're not talking to y'all. But you notice how the not never group seems to have the biggest megaphone. Have you ever thought about that as I go on this rabbit trail? And the reason that is because they get a lot of attention. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. And so where the attention flows, the money goes. But a lot of you guys are being led astray, especially when it comes to home ownership. Those of you in the not right now bucket. I digress. Let's get back to it. He mentioned $1 million homes. He kind of threw that out there as if all homes are $1 million. This is what I noticed in the time that we're in. I heard that soundbite on one of the news channels that I subscribe to. And then I heard it everywhere. Remember, these gentlemen that you're watching in the clip that I showed, probably millionaires. I would say they're millionaires. For sure, heavy 100,000aires. You see what I'm saying? And so notice it doesn't behoove them to tell the truth because really nobody wants to hear the truth. That don't get a lot of attention. But if y'all are fighting on Carnival and acting a fool, and that gets all the attention. So $1 million home, a lot of those of you that are in the not right now bucket hear that and get discouraged. Watch to the end of the video. I'm going to show you how you can buy homes where you are for less than that. Guaranteed. Lastly, what he mentioned with the money that you're making, 10, 20% is out of the window. I disagree with that as well. I'll do another video, but just to show you that there's folks making minimum wage and they save a lot of money, but they don't have a lot of debt. They don't have a lot of wants. They just deal with needs. And a lot of us do not want to hear that, but it can be done. But to his point, you don't even have to put down 20% if you don't want to. There's ways around that as well. So I answered his questions. I believe I gave very good reasons as to why all of the things that he is saying are cap, respectfully. Now, your opportunity to get down and let me know where I have it wrong so that we all can learn. I think we missed the plot, the point of these videos, and it's not to one up one another. It's so that the whole community can rise. That is my motivation. Let's stop the name calling. Express yourself. Name calling is a great indicator of your immaturity. We want to raise that acumen level so that you guys can make the right decision for you and your family as it pertains to shelter on if you're going to buy a home affordably so that you can have peace. We're about to get into the meat of the video. I'm going to show you how you can use Zillow. We'll use Zillow as an example, but there's several sites out, and how to use it properly to find these homes that I'm speaking to you about that you can buy affordable. Since I mentioned Zillow, we want to stay consistent, and I'm going to be using some of their tools, okay? But I have no affiliation, no allegiance to any of these things. They're tools. Use them to your benefit. So here's the article: the most affordable places to buy a home in 2026. There are 14 major cities with at least 50% of the listings are considered affordable. Stay with me. Let's define what Zillow is saying is affordable. Zillow considers a home to be affordable if the cost of the mortgage on that typical home, that's the principal, interest, tax, and insurance payment, the pity payment, and maintenance, I like that, take up less than 30% of a typical household budget. In some cases, a lot less. So that's what their definition of affordable is. I tend to agree. If you've watched the channel at any point in time, some of the videos that we have on here, I just went over the 5 percentages that you need to adhere to make sure that you have a excellent home buying decision. And that ratio that was mentioned, I'm assuming we call that the back end ratio, that 30% is talking about the front end ratio, the house portion of your total ratios. I said 28%, they said 30%. You guys have to decide what's comfortable for you, because these are not gospel. These are guidelines. I digress. Top 10 cities, most affordable markets: Buffalo, St. Louis, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Maryland, Baltimore, be more, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Kansas City. All them places cold. If you're comfortable with a cold weather environment, well then those are the most affordable places. Now, here's where the opportunity lies so we can move forward. Top 10 housing markets with the biggest gains in affordable listings, meaning the home prices are coming down. And if you notice, a lot of these are going to be in what we call the Sun Belt states for the most part. Arizona, Phoenix, Austin. Plenty of videos written about Austin. San Antonio, Texas, in the news a lot. Dallas, Texas, okay? Washington, D.C., that's interesting. Denver, Colorado. Houston, Texas. Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to stick with Texas because that's a good litmus test, because Texas taxes are a lot higher than a lot of these other places because there's no state income tax. What we want to do next is let's go over to Zillow's search tool. And I did this on the last video, but I want to do it again to show you guys how to go out and look at these homes. So I'm using $225,000. Where did I come up with that number? For those of you that make $75,000 a year, all right, the last video that I did, I gave some percentages. I called it the Love Your House formula. And so 3 times your gross income. If we're at $75,000, because that's the number we're using today, $75,000 household income, all right, times 3, that's $225,000 as a max. And just to show you that there's no cap in my rap, there's my 28%. That's my front end. Zillow is saying 30%. My back end, or all in debt, including the new house payment, shouldn't exceed 36%. And then I'm saying, hey, if you really want to have peace, you put 20% down, and then you got to factor in that maintenance at 1% a year. I'm not telling you got to do none of these things. You feel me? We're going to use San Antonio. Why San Antonio? Because it was on the list as one of the fastest cities that have more affordable listings coming online, because it was one of the cities that had one of the highest run-ups as well. What goes up must come down. And so Texas had the three major MSAs: Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Dallas. Let me get over here. Dallas, San Antonio, Houston. They call it the Golden Triangle. But $225,000 is why I use that there. I'm always going to do 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Property type, we're just looking at houses, not townhouses and all the other stuff, houses. And then the other filter, and this is why you stayed for the video, let's look for foreclosed homes. Matter of fact, let's also look for foreclosures. Why? Because a lot of you guys are listening to these folks on YouTube, again, getting your attention with the negative information, saying that all these foreclosures are happening. Well, I'm going to show you here in this example, in one of the biggest states in the country, that there ain't a whole lot of foreclosures. So somebody lying. But the foreclosures that are out here, is a way for you, if you're making $75,000, to stay at or beneath $225,000 and get a great deal and have peace when you move into your home. So we're going to go foreclosures and houses that have been foreclosed. Let's look at the definition. Foreclosures. These properties are currently listed for sale. Okay. They are owned by a bank or a lender who took ownership through foreclosure proceedings. Foreclosed. These properties are owned by a bank or a lender who took ownership through foreclosure proceedings. A lot of stuff that you see online talks about pre-foreclosures, which the lender initiated foreclosure proceedings on these properties because the owners were in default on their loan obligations. Pre-foreclosures also include properties for which a foreclosure action is scheduled, but they haven't been foreclosed on. And most of these pre-foreclosures never get to a foreclosure or foreclosed status. Very important for you to understand that, so you guys are not out here waiting for something that ain't gonna happen. So now, San Antonio, all these foreclosures that are supposed to be happening, there's 31 of them, according to Zillow, for sale in San Antonio. This is why there's not going to be the situation that we had during the great housing meltdown, because they were millions of people that had houses that were foreclosed on. Not the case here. I digress. This is how you can get an affordable home. Get into it. Now, when you're going through, don't be fooled, because even though we did the filters, Zillow is about advertising. So they're going to keep throwing these new constructions and things in here, but that's an ad. That ain't the filter list. The filter list looks more like this. Look at that one. That one is fairly new. And the reason I want to pick this one is because a lot of you ladies, got a lot of ladies on the channel. Shout out to you. You guys are getting to home ownership. You always have. And so I want to show you something like this, because you think newer is better or older implies work and stuff breaking down. Not always the case, but I get it. Built in 2022. Now, if you've watched the channel, you guys know and understand the newer the home, you might have to understand that there's an HOA. There it is, $22 a month. And you want to be very careful in that you understand that you're buying in an area that might still be being developed, the infrastructure. So that could cause future increases in assessment costs, not only in the subdivision what you're buying, but the surrounding area. I like opening up this section. Okay. We already saw the age, but we want to look for the taxes. We want to look for the HOA. Okay. HOA is $265 annually. So we're going to take 265, divide that by 12, $22, just like they said. Then the taxes, that's what I want to look at. This gives us a lot of information that we can glean from. Why, Robert, do you want us to have this information? I'm glad you asked, because I created a couple of things for you guys, because I want you all to win, and I'm tired of seeing you lose. So let's go over here. This is a calculator. I call it the real calculator. And you could take some of the information that we just got from Zillow. What's the square footage of this place? 1,604 square feet. So on this real calculator, you can go in and let's say it was 1,604 feet for the square footage. And if you notice down here at the bottom, this gives us our maintenance budget. And again, these aren't numbers that you have to hang your hat on, and you don't have to do this, but this is a great tool to help you understand, know what is expected before you sign the dotted line and then come back a year later on TikTok complaining. We don't want that. I'm giving you solutions for those of you that want to buy. This is how it's done up front. We look at the pictures and all that later. We got to start looking at the numbers to see if we can truly afford it. Now, you can go back over here to Zillow, right? And you could go down to their calculator. All right. But keep in mind, scroll down here. I don't want to make anybody sick. Where's their payment calculator? That is an estimate. That's what I want to say. It's an estimate. And it's kind of cut off there, but you see it. Okay. But their monthly estimate that they're giving is here. And if you click this drop down for the principal and interest, this is what I want to look at. So you have to understand that they're always using 20% to get these numbers. You may not be able to put 20% down. So since it's FHA, let's say we're going to put 3.5% down, 3.5%. Okay. Now let's watch those numbers change. And I'm fine with this 6.5%, basically 6.49% interest rate. They may vary based upon your specific situation and the day you actually lock the rate, not when you get a quote, because interest rates move daily. I digress. But they're showing a principal and interest payment, okay, the proposed loan amount, the amortization of term 30 years, okay, and the interest rate 6.49 with 3.5% down. With the total loan amount, the estimated principal and interest payment is $1,218. Okay, well, you want to jump over here to your real calculator. Boom, right? And we got that number. We're going to put 1218. All right. And so on and so forth. You could go in and you could get your monthly property taxes from the tax assessor collector, or you can look here. Okay. They're giving you an estimate of the tax assessment based upon a tax rate that they're coming up with. Those of you that watch the channel, you know I don't like that. Why? Because that's not applicable to what you're looking at. If you're looking at a certain zip code or a certain address, pardon me, you could go to the county assessor or the appraisal district and find out what the actual taxes were for that house that you're interested in. And why that is important is because these folks might have a very low tax bill for the year that they just recently paid for because they have some type of exemption that's not going to be applicable to you. So that's why you want to look there. But just shooting and trying to get an idea, they said a tax rate of 1.77%, right? 38 a year based upon the home price, which I like. They're using the home price. They're not actually using the base loan amount. So we're getting a worst case scenario. So they're saying 295. So we put that 295 in. I'm sorry. Let me get y'all back over to the calculator. They put that 295 in. Monthly insurance. They're saying insurance at $67 a month. I hate that. What I like to do is take 1% of the actual purchase price. Okay. And if it's more than that, you shouldn't be too excited. If it's less than that, then you're good to go. But $19.99, right? Divide that by 12. So let's go $166.58 a month. Okay. You see where we're going? Okay. HOA was what? What was that? $22? Boom. And then the monthly PMI. Okay. Because there's PMI insurance. This is something that your lender should be able to calculate for you. So it should be about $154 a month. All right. The MIP. So as you can see on this calculator here, all right, you get a good understanding thus far that your total monthly real cost for this home loan should be $2,080, not $1,855 a month, with the actual estimated principal, interest, tax, insurance payment is on this deal. But we got to factor in this maintenance cost, because this is what's getting a lot of folks. And this is not implying that you have $224 worth of maintenance a month, but what it does is it prepares you for when life happens, because life is going to happen. And as you build that muscle and put that money to the side that I have the ability to put to the side every month, whenever something must be addressed, then you have the ability to address it. That's the peace formula that we're talking about, or the real calculator that we're using here. So that's my solution and answer to the question and all of the barriers that were presented in the beginning of the video. If you want to buy, you could buy, man. You could buy foreclosed properties. You could buy properties that are a little older. They're out there. You just have to be checking for them. If you've watched this far and you said, you know what, Robert, I like the way you get down. I want to move forward. What's my next step? Well, it's really a consultation. I want to have a conversation with you. Really, not a conversation. It's one way. I want to listen to what your goals are and then see if there's a fit between you and I. And if there is, we can move to the next step. So down in the link of the description, you can schedule that consultation. For those of you that would like access to the real calculator, do this. If I get 25 real comments, just type REAL, and then we'll follow up with instructions on how you can get to it. For the rest of you guys, you want to continue watching these next 2 videos. I've curated them for you because I'm assuming you're not ready to reach out. Continue your education, continue to build that confidence that you need until the time that you're ready to have that conversation. My time is up, but I thank you for yours. As I always say, guys, let's be good to one another and let grace abound. You guys, stay blessed. Indeed.